David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. It's always fun to take a look at brand new products hitting the market, especially when it's a brand new design, and even more when it includes some features that I haven't seen before. And that's what I have for you today, a brand new pen with some interesting and unique features from the stationery company Endless, and it's called the Captiva. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of this intriguing offering, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. And I'll also be sharing a couple of nice portable pen storage offerings the good folks at Endless sent along when they provided these pens that you will see today for review. If you're not familiar with Endless, they previously have focused more on stationery and pen pouches, but have begun producing fountain pens as well. They also have a couple of very nice inks, which come in some really unique bottles. I'll show you what those look like during the writing sample as well. Endless is based out of India, and I believe that they are a sister company to the ink brand Krishna. Okay, let's take a look at a pen. It arrives in this box. And inside, we have a little use and care guide describing some of the unique features of this pen. And the Captiva is available in 3 different versions. There is the Deep Ocean, which is a very deep blue. The Infinite Space, which is black with chrome trim. And then there is the Stealth Black, which is black with black trim. And the version I have to share with you today is the Deep Ocean. Now, I mentioned this is a deep blue. It is a very deep blue. It's essentially black with a couple of drops of blue in there. I actually thought it was black until I was disassembling it and I could tell the cap had a tinge of blue to it. I just think that if a company decides to have 2 different colors, that maybe you make them both a little bit more distinguishable from one another. Not the biggest deal, though. The pen is made from a light plastic resin. While I wouldn't describe the feel of the pen as being cheap, I do wish it just had a bit more weight to it. Like I said, it's fairly light. Let's take a look at the parts and features of this pen. The top of the cap is beveled, and on the very top there is a round metal insert. Then we have the clip. It is sturdy and rather straightforward. It is accommodating as well. The cap is straight and devoid of a band. At the end of the clip, there is a medium-sized step down to the barrel, which then angles down about 1 millimeter from beginning to end. In the middle of the barrel, there is a narrow slit of an ink window, which gives you a good look at your ink situation. And then we come to the business end of this pen, here at the end of the barrel. This is the distinguishing feature of this new offering. Endless calls this pen a torque filler. As they describe, it has a luxury of a piston filler, but the convenience of a standard converter. This system allows you to ink the pen without unscrewing the barrel, while still maintaining the visibility of your ink with the ink window. Now, I won't twist this now because the pen is inked, but you twist this knob here at the end, which is exposed on both sides. Now, this knob contains the only external branding of this pen, which is the dots and dash, which make up the company logo. At the very end of the barrel, you can see a little piece of the knob where it fits in with the barrel. Here's a look at that piece outside of the barrel. Now, here's a look at that back piece of the converter. In essence, it's basically a piece that fits directly over the end of a standard converter. I'll demonstrate what I mean during the writing sample. As seen here, you can still unscrew the barrel to expose this converter, and the pen is simple to clean and disassemble, just like a standard cartridge converter pen is. The cap twists off with 2 rotations, and underneath is the stainless steel nib. It is again emblazoned with the dots and dash of the company logo. This nib is available in extra fine, fine, medium, and broad. In addition, for an additional $5 each, they offer 3 different specialty nibs. There is a broad stub, a needle point, as well as an architect. This specific pen is equipped with the architect nib, and it is very, very nice. I will demonstrate this during the writing sample, but the additional $5 to get this architect nib was well worth the price. It's one of my favorite architect nibs that I've tested. It's fairly smooth and just performs perfectly. It's really fun to use. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is fairly long and slightly concave. It then transitions into the cap threads and a smooth transition to the remainder of the barrel. I will say that I have had a bit of cross-threading issues from time to time with this pen. It seems like if I attempt to cap it quickly, it gets caught up. And, it's not a huge issue, just something that I have to be careful for when capping and uncapping this pen. Well, capping it. You don't cross-thread when you uncap it. The pen is plenty long enough to use unposted. The cap does post, and it does post securely. The cap is very light, so I don't feel like backweights the pen or throws off the balance. The edge of the cap does rub against the inside of my palm, but that edge is not sharp, so it doesn't present any comfort issues for me. I mentioned the torque filling system, which is essentially a converter with an additional piece added to the knob. You could use standard international cartridges with this pen if you so desired, but in doing so, there would be a large gap in the back of the barrel where the end of the converter knob would be. Also, with the numerous holes in this barrel, eyedropping would be a very unwise decision. The Endless Captiva is available directly from the Endless Company website, as well as many domestic retailers. The retail price is $60. Now, I do feel that $60 is on the high end in regard to a value proposition for this particular offering, but at $65 with the Architect nib, I feel that that's well worth the price. I am very much enjoying this specialty nib. I don't typically do a lot of specialty grinds, but this one is a lot of fun and wants to make me want to experiment with more of them. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a very enjoyable writing sample. Okay, here we have some size comparisons for the Endless Captiva. I wanted to give you another closer look at that. A real nice ink window, and then here's the knob in the back. It's inked right now, so I'm not going to press it, but you know what? Actually, let me take it apart again, and I'll kind of show you how this is constructed to where we have a standard, basically essentially a standard Schmidt converter with this piece on the end. And this piece actually can just pop right off. So it is a standard converter, and you could take that off if you wanted to, but then you would kind of have a gap here in the back. But you can see that this fits right on there. And when it screws in, it goes in the top, and that it looks really nice. And then you can see the logo right there through the window. But in regard to some size comparisons, this is what it looks like with a Pilot vanishing point. And here it is with a Faber-Castell loom. And here it is with a Lamy Safari. This is the petrol version, which was a limited edition from a number of years ago. In regard to a couple of other pens, here it is with a Visconti Homo Sapien. Then here it is with a TWSBI Diamond 580 Iris. And then finally, here it is with a Sailor Pro Gear. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with that Pro Gear and the Lamy Safari. And then finally, here it is with the TWSBI Diamond 580. Here we go with the writing sample for the Endless Captiva. And this is Architect grind. And as you can see, it just really provides a bit of effortless flair to your writing. And the ink that I'm using is something from Endless, which is Endless Alchemy, Candy C. This is what the ink looks like. You could say it's a nice vibrant blue with just a lot of sheening to it. So it's a heavy sheening ink. And in regard to some other heavy sheening inks, this is what it looks like with Dominant Industries Milky Way Blue, or even Vinta's Blue Blood. Here it is with Diamine's Bloody Brexit, or even KWZ's Sheen Machine, or even Diamine's Skulls and Roses. They actually have two inks in this series. This is the other one, which is the Mystic Forest. The ink bottles for this are rather interesting. They actually come with this stopper, but then they also include the cap, and they're this nice kind of triangular bottle, and then they kind of wibble wobble on the little stand that they come in on. And I will say that you should be careful with these because there's some bottles that are really thick, and if they happen to fall on the ground, have a tendency not to break. But I was sent two of these, and as you can see here, one of the ink bottles did not make it. I had a little incident earlier today, and I'm not quite sure that hardwood floor will ever be the same. So unfortunately, the one that I dropped was this Candy C, which of the two, I like the Candy C a lot. But this Mystic Forest is nice as well, and I'll have to play with that more later, but that's what those look like. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. Well, actually, you know what? We're going to do this. Now, you're not going to get a lot of line variation out of an architect grind. It's really not meant for that. Basically, for the architect grind, when you have a thinner line when you are up and down, and then when you go left and right, you have a significantly thicker line. So it's kind of the opposite of a stub nib, where the stub nib, the thicker line is going to be when you go up and down, and the thinner is the opposite way. But I do find that it does lay down a healthy amount of ink. In regard to reverse writing, that's really not what this is meant for. It is a little sharp, but it does get the job done. But in regard to the rest of the writing sample, it's a quick brown. Okay, let's see. We'll just reverse it this time. It's very pleasant to use, and I do like the way that it gives my handwriting a little bit of flair without having to make too much effort to it. And in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up very well. Oh, I was also going to share a couple of pen cases they sent. Let me actually zoom out just a little bit to give a little bit of extra room. And they sent a couple of different pen cases. This one here, actually use the smaller one. This one, we'll just have a brief overview of this. Some nice leather. One of the features that I really like here is that these are adjustable, so that if you have a really thick pen, that you can really adjust this and have a significantly larger pen in there. Or if you have a smaller pen, you can adjust that as well. So I think that the idea of being able to adjust these is something that's nice. And just in regard to a pen, here we go. There's one of my Figboot Viscontis, and that fits in there very well. In regard to the other case, this is the larger case. It has a nice zipper to it, and again, let me go sideways. You can adjust these so that you can make whatever pen you want to fit in here nicely. You can see the size is nice. Now, I will say that it does have a pouch here on the side, and it's a little hard to access this particular pouch. Here is a little notebook, and the notebook, it does take some effort to get it in there. I really wouldn't want to put something in there just because it's very tight to get something in there, and it'll be a challenge to get it out. So I think that they could have maybe made it maybe a little looser and maybe not quite as long. But the quality overall, the build quality is very nice on these, and that they're available on the Endless website as well. This is just a real fun nib to use. So there we have the Endless Captiva. I think this is an interesting new offering. I think that it has some interesting new features. And then especially with this Architect nib that they offer, I think it's well worth the price for that particular nib. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.